We are Steve and Jill.
Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show,
We answer that and more. I'm Steve and Jack Butala.
And I'm Jill DeWit, and this is the Land Academy Show.
This is episode number 1937. And today, we are talking in depth about the data, how the data will tell you exactly what to do. And then later on in the show, we'll talk about how to avoid sending overpriced mailers, two really popular topics that our staff tells us are popular in Discord and popular in the whole customer service environment for Land Academy members.
Always. It's funny. If you send overpriced offers, you know right away because everybody calls you back and they love you. It's hilarious. I have to pause and say something right now. I just realized as I'm walking into your office here to record this, I realized, for whatever reason at this point in my life, I'm excited about the weirdest things. Let me tell you what I'm excited about this week. We just had 2 cars serviced and our air conditioning, like a checkup kind of thing at the house, and it all came back that nothing was needed. I'm like, really? Like, when was the last, it's always seems your car goes in, it needs something. And we had 2 cars go in, nothing. I'm like, now granted, it wasn't cheap getting them serviced, but there is that. But at least I didn't come back and go, oh, you've got to have fill in the blank and it's $900. But
now that you said that, something horrific's going to happen before the week's over.
Oh, wait, hold on a moment. That's okay. We just bought a new pool filter, or pool pump, excuse me. Mm-hmm. So don't think that it's all peachy over here.
It's endless.
It is endless.
I don't know how we got on this so fast.
I don't know. It's funny. You're like, you go back and forth, like where you want to live and lifestyle and things like that. We do anyway. I do anyway. And right now, Jack I can feel it. You are becoming an association HOA. I don't do anything outside the walls person really fast. Like that wouldn't be bad, right?
It's just people. There's an underlying theme today. We're going to talk about data, which is a real easy discussion, and how data really tells you what to do. So the underlying theme is you don't really have to be emotional or pay attention to a lot except for data.
You don't have to be emotional. That's a whole other topic. I'm writing that one. No.
Topic number 1. And then the next we're going to talk about, pricing mailers. There's no emotion in that. No. And then at the end of the show, Jill and I always put in our 2 cents with some opinions about stuff. And there's some interesting things going on in the world right now that, as it pertains to land, of course, right, that I've never seen before, and I think it's a result of everything's a result of sign of the times, right? So, but no, I don't. Me inside of an HOA is maybe not the best thing.
No, I know, but I know that's not what's going to happen. But I feel you kind of going, what's wrong with that? Mm-hmm. Like maybe then I wouldn't have to care about. I don't have to do anything. Someone else would be responsible for my roof and the pool and fill in the blank. Yep.
Pendulum swings too far sometimes. Yeah. And our pendulum for home maintenance and life maintenance has swung a little too far in one direction. In case you can't tell, Jill's little speech here. Yeah.
Next thing you know, I'm just going to give up altogether. I'm just like, I'm going to walk around in sweats. Oh my God. I'm going to wear sweats every day and just say, who cares? No.
And now we do the show.
Okay.
I hope you're enjoying our new 2023 weekly show. Each week, we answer questions from our Land Academy Discord forum, review land acquisitions from our weekly Thursday member webinar, and take a deep dive into 2 land-related topics by popular request, as I mentioned a couple minutes ago. Mm-hmm. Let's take a question posted by one of our members on the Land Academy Discord online community. If you want a sneak peek of our Discord channel, please go to landinvestors.com. It's free and it's in read-only format, so you can kind of observe what we're all silly about.
Yep. Most of the channel. Not everything's there, which is cool too. All right. Dan S. rants. It says, the crazy people are coming out of the woodwork right now. I keep having people that want to sell, but are requesting weird stuff. I have never included earnest money until now. People are asking for it. Interesting. I have never had anyone want to bring in a realtor when we already have an escrow until now. I've had people previously asked to use a standard realtor purchase agreement until I explained what that actually meant. Now I have people insisting on it, even though I mark through literally everything and I just add an amendment with my single page wordage. I love that. Could you imagine? I want to do that. Line every single darn page out and put an amendment. I would do that. This is great. They're all good deals, but my goodness, they're upping the stress and difficulty level for nothing. This is a good point to make.
For the 3 or 4 of you who are listening or watching to this who don't know this, you don't need a real estate agent to do a real estate deal in this country.
Even if it's your house.
National Association of Realtors has spent decades of hundreds of millions of dollars to change this opinion so that you think you need a real estate agent. And the result of that is that many, many, many people subconsciously or consciously, for whatever reason, think that you need a real estate agent. Right. You know, it's interesting because we all know that we don't need a car dealer to buy a car.
Exactly.
It's the exact same thing. It's just convenience. And so, again, the 3 or 4 of you who may see using a real estate agent as a convenience, you just don't need it. We're all land professionals here, real estate professionals. We can do our own deals. All you need is a title agent, and really, even then, you don't need that.
Correct.
So no, you don't need a real estate agent. For some reason, I can envision the stories behind all of these things. I love Dan, by the way. Yeah. Dan's up in the Pacific Northwest. He's been with us for a while. Career path alumni, does a ton of deals, pretty laid back guy, and he's just always fun to talk to. He's we interviewed him a few months ago, so if you go back in our podcast archive, if you want to, he's always got a lot of interesting stuff to say, including this. Yeah. So I'm going to talk about this at the end of the show, but this is the world we live in now, and it's not just real estate, but there's strange things going on. Where, and I'll talk about it at the end, but.
I was going to add, so some of the things he mentioned were you talked about the contract. Do we need that? No. If they want it, you could do what he did. Fine, I'll get my hands on one. I'm sure you could find a PDF version by Googling it, and you could print it out, fill it out, cross everything off you want, just so they feel good about it, and use that to open escrow. That's fine.
Real estate agents are, in this case specifically, they're just getting in the way.
Yeah.
And then they're getting paid for doing nothing. You already put the deal together.
We know what's funny about that too. Say they want the paperwork, but not the agent. They think they need to sign that. That paperwork's not designed for us. So you should be marking things out because you're not taking a commission. This doesn't apply to you. This doesn't apply to you. All these things don't apply to us. It really does apply to agents and what they're required to do. Earnest money. I can't remember the last time.
I don't think we've ever done earnest money.
I have, but not very, very rarely do I do it just because we connect and I'm just making the deal. Here you go. We're going for it kind of thing.
Jill is acting as a real estate agent in our own transaction.
That's the point. The
only reason you would ever need a real estate agent is to calm everybody down, both parties, in case that some stuff happens in the middle of the deal, which usually is way more likely to happen with an emotional real estate deal, like a house, specifically a primary residence where, you said you were going to change the curtains out and you didn't. You don't want to scream at a seller and lose a $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 transaction because of that. You scream at the real estate agent and they go and calm it all down. You know what I think? That doesn't happen in land.
I think people are just seeking a little bit of a level of security. They think that by having some unrelated third party in here kind of overseeing the transaction, that it's going to make it better, just safer, whatever. Well, that's what escrow is for. So in that situation, and what we're talking about here, that's really all you need, especially if you're doing higher dollar amount transactions, like you're buying for $30,000 and above. Let's just say it used to be $10,000 was our threshold for us. But even in those situations, and it's clear, it's not required. It's just your comfort level. But for the transactions we are doing, I don't have to. Say I'm buying it directly from a seller, like we're talking about here. Whatever my seller and I work out, we do it. And I choose to, on the higher dollar amounts, go through escrow because for us, it's just easier. And on the sell side, the people that I'm traditionally selling for, they're going to want it.
And it's worth it.
Right. So, and I bake that cost into the transaction because I'm buying for 30 and selling for 80. I can afford a $1,400, escrow close. It's totally fine.
I hope we all see value in the numbers that Jill just said. For $1,400 to close a deal, get title insurance, get it recorded properly. You don't have to do a lot of paperwork.
Not even properly.
yourselves.
It's like we do it properly. I just don't have to do it.
But it's still, and if something goes wrong, you can go back to somebody and say, this person didn't do this right, not me. I didn't record it, because I've recorded a lot of wrong stuff in my life. And that's one of the reasons I use title now too. So we all see some value in it, and that business model really works. And I think it's value, for the most part, there's value in getting title insurance, not all the time, but for the most part. There's no value in paying a real estate agent 6%.
No.
When they're not finding, all they're doing is posting it on the internet and waiting for somebody to call.
Right.
So we're long past any value for a real estate agent. If real estate agents, however, charge $1,400,
a flat rate?
Flat rate for an $80,000 deal.
Do you remember that was a thing?
Might do it. If they charge $1,400 for a $3 million house, we might do it.
Where did they go?
We might all see some value in it.
Where did they go? Remember that was a thing for a while back.
I think a lot of things.
That all went away.
The internet made a lot of things cheap to free, and it kind of eroded away at. It didn't in the long run. I can't sustain that.
There were flat rate real estate brokers, and I haven't seen anything like that in years.
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart because that made sense. There used to be like $2,000.
Help you sell?
Yeah. Yes. Yep. Totally. Stuff like that.
So Dan's completely right here. And
funny.
This is not going away, and I'll talk about it at the end. This world, the way it's really a result of years and coming on 3 years now of this post-COVID environment we live in, where everybody's online and everybody's got an opinion, and for whatever reason that's valuable, and they feel like they can insert themselves into anything and everything that's going on just for the sake of insertion,
right?
Not because they're going to make the transaction better. That's what's happening in Dan's deal here. This deal's not becoming easier now.
Yeah.
It's becoming more difficult because more people are getting involved, and
that's what happens.
Like the price isn't changing. He didn't sit here and say, "Oh, the prices are changing," and
funny?
They change the price, and or they change the terms, and it's going to make it more. It's not now a deal that I want to do under the Land Academy model. Buy for whatever.
Right.
So that would be one thing that I understand. If they want to come in and change the price, I understand that because they talk to their Aunt Sally or something. That happens, and I get that, but.
Right.
Not let's bring somebody in and change a contract and make it harder.
Right.
Today's topic, the data will tell you what to do. This is half of the meat of the show.
Got it.
I'm getting used to the new format too.
Okay.
I'm going to start off with a little anecdote. My New Year's resolution was to get more healthy. And so Jill and I joined a group called Forward, goforward.com. I'm not plugging it. I can't.
No affiliation.
No affiliation. We don't get any money and we don't want any. I'm just sharing a personal experience.
I wouldn't turn it down.
And the first thing they do,
hold on a moment. So if you work for Forward, call us. We can help.
Yeah. It would be an easy endorsement for us because we're sold. Both of us are sold.
Totally.
On this. It's for, I think, $125, $150 a month each. It does not replace health insurance in any way, but what it allows you to do is to get into a schedule and get into their technology to establish the results of a blood test and respiratory tests and EKGs and ECGs and all of the things that are very important, in my opinion, for people that are specifically our age, where there's nothing wrong with us. We just want to prevent things from going wrong. Yep. We need a baseline, a medical history, and that's all data. So they start by taking blood and running all kinds of tests and putting it into their tech system. It's essentially an app, pretty amazing app. And, once in a while we take our blood pressure, we monitor what we eat, we exercise, and then we get another blood test 3 to 6 months later. In Jill's case, it's a year later because she doesn't need anything at all. And it's the data. The data tells us what to do. So now, truth be told, I have slightly high cholesterol. Completely changed my exercise scenario and completely changed what I've eaten, and that's coming back to where it should be. So the data, I didn't do this because, I want to eat more vegetables to feel better, although that happened. What I did was unemotionally had blood drawn, got it into a computer system that said, yeah, you probably eat too much meat or too much, your cholesterol is too high for a bunch of reasons, and got it back down to where it should be. So there's data in everything. And there's always been data in Land Academy. We built Land Academy around data.
Yeah.
I didn't, I guess it's sort of on accident, but
that's just how you roll.
Yeah.
That's how you make.
There's data in everything.
That's a good point. Like, from the moment I met you, you research everything. You probably research, where we're going to dinner tonight and why it's a good restaurant, like back then. And here's our trip we're taking. Here's where we're going to oh, you know what? Here's a truth time. I just had
she got that look.
I just had
if you're on YouTube, rewind like just a few seconds and look at that. Look at Jill's little lip right here. It goes up like that.
Like,
and here,
what does it say?
Here it comes.
Oh.
I'm going to get it.
I forgot. I was planning a weekend trip with the whole family with the kids, and I had to put together a spreadsheet.
I do remember that.
Yes.
This is a long time ago.
Yes, this is a long time ago. So you want to talk about data? Welcome to my world. We can't do a vacation. Well, that was back then. Now it's okay. But times were a little bit tighter, and we needed a budget. And I had to budget out every darn little thing. Gas, where we're staying, the cost,
we went skiing,
tickets, the hotel, the meals, drinks.
What was I have to ask you. So, did that disgust you? Were you, or was it kind of like, I kind of respect this?
No, it was more the first one.
You hated it?
Yeah, I hated it. I hated every minute of it. But I did it because that was the only way it was going to happen. So, yeah. No, I don't go, this makes sense. This is really smart. I'm like, are you flipping kidding me? I got to do this now. I just want to go on vacation, So.
We came in under budget on that trip.
Yes.
Way under budget.
Yes. I had to show it to you and prove it to you. You're like, okay, we can go. Thank you. Back to the topic.
That was early on in our time together. But that could have blown up in my face pretty easily.
I guess that's a little story about how Jack is with data. Jack, you don't know how to run around on this planet without using data.
Look, here's the thing. There's a lot of things to be emotional about in this life, in your life. Being emotional about the person that you're choosing to spend the rest of your life with, ding, ding. I'm all for it.
What data did you use on me, by the way? hold on a moment.
Just let me get through this.
Okay.
Being emotional about your children growing up and watching them growing up. And, the first, I'll never forget the first time our kids tasted a French fry. For some reason, that just became a thing because the first time you eat a French fry, it's like the world is just the greatest place there ever was. So there's all emotion in movies and all kinds of, there's lots of places for emotion. Making money, there's no place for emotion. There's no place for emotion when it comes to staying healthy and maintaining your health. There's all kinds of places for no emotion at all. Like Jill just said, the cars went in, they came back out, they maintain them with the regular maintenance. There's no emotion in that. And even if they came back and said, you need a new alternator or whatever ends up happening in cars these days, no emotion. So I think you have to get through times and realize which time there's to be emotional and what times are not. It's really interesting to go through Discord. If you're a member, go through Discord and look at the questions, especially in the newbie section, where people are brand new and they're asking questions and how it's typed out or in the tone of the question. And I can see very, very quickly who's acclimating themselves to this, who's overcoming the little questions that they have, who's going through the Land Academy program and rewatching and watching and rewatching the modules or the chapters that may be harder for them to understand and how they're responding. Go to the would you do this deal section and you'll see in the notes if this person's struggling or if they have a huge sense of confidence. Like, I need some funding on this because I love this freaking deal. Let's do it. Mm-hmm. So I think this is a place to just check your emotion at the door. The data will tell you exactly what to do. When I started out in this, I would try to make markets work. There is no such thing as a red, yellow, green test. There's no such thing as DataTree, Redfin, Zillow.
You didn't even have a
RealQuest.
We didn't have CoreLogic.
There's nothing. All there was assessor data where you literally walked into the county, sometimes flew there, walked into the county, bought a CD if you're lucky, and put it on there's many times I would go back to a motel room and put it on into my laptop and then spend 2 or 3 days trying to get the data into the right. And so, there was no opportunity or no real data from which to make a decision.
Right.
And so this is why this is such a luxurious time.
Oh gosh.
From a data perspective and a real estate investment perspective, because we have all this stuff at our disposal and it's damn near free.
Right.
It's not free. It's not zero. And I'm leery of zero anyway.
Right.
But it'll tell you exactly what to do if you let it. Trolling is a great example. If you're trolling through the markets like we talk about all over the place, especially in Land Academy 3.0 and constantly in these environments. If you're looking at a market and the numbers aren't immediately coming up to where to fit your criteria of, let's say, like Joe's buy for 30, sell for 80 or 90, and then you send a mailer out and expect that, the data told you what to do, and you just didn't listen. And so that's an easy thing to control. Well, the data's telling me exactly what to do. I don't have any emotion about it. I'm going to send mail there.
Right.
Or not send mail there.
That's my first thought when I read this topic. It was, and I'm going to get back to the other thing here in a minute. My first thought was data's going to tell you what to do. And that just starts with picking a county, picking an area. The data's right there. And we didn't, like you said, we didn't have that before. I can't remember the last time I heard someone say, oh, I missed the boat, didn't I? That doesn't come up anymore. Isn't that funny? Used to be years ago, people say, oh, shoot, I'm probably late to the game, aren't I?
Oh, I hear it all. I hear it.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't hear it at all.
Well, the kids are out of the house, so we don't hear it. You don't hear it.
Well, no, I'm not the kids. No. I mean, in Land Academy, people like wanting to be investors like us, like, oh, I'm sure all the good deals are gone or something like that. I'm like, that used to come up, and I used to say, hold on to your hat, because that's definitely not true. And this was like a year or two ago was the last time I heard it.
A year or two ago, they may have missed the boat, but I'll tell you, the 2023, you're in it now. Well, in a great way.
My comment was always, though, but hold on a second. The data keeps getting better. We're getting our hands on more and more land data, land focus, and more accurate zip code data, things like that we didn't have 5-10 years ago, that you're coming in now. It's going to make it so much easier. Even just when I look at properties and I'm doing my due diligence on, do I want to buy it now? The data that I have and how I can quickly put in a state and county and APN and look at it, what they paid, all the details, zoning, all that stuff. I didn't have that back then. These were all phone calls to the county that we had to make to uncover this information. It's so nice. So it just keeps getting better.
If you picture, I did a blog about this a long time ago, like, maybe 5 or 7 years ago. You picture 3 houses lined up next to each other, or 5 houses. This is the 2023 version of that. Mm-hmm. There's 5 houses together. They're all valued at 280, 250, 290, 110, 218, 250. Which one are you going to buy, or which one are you going to look at?
The 110.
The 110. Why is it valued at 110? Well, for whatever reason, that algorithm that you're looking at, whether Zillow, Realtor, or a combination of them, which I prefer, is there's something that's creating less value in there on the acquisition side. So go in there, and you can do this with land. Go in there and find out why it's valued for less. And you have 2 choices: buy it cheap and resell it for more, which is what we do, or buy it and change whatever that value, whatever the value deterrent is, to get it up to the rest and sell for that amount.
Right.
That's what we're here to do. The data's telling us what to do. I'm not going to try to buy the one on the left that got valued at 260 and try to buy it for. I'm just not going to do that. It's just silly it's a round peg square hole scenario. Right. And I don't get emotional about it at all. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm buying this asset for $28,000 that I know I can sell for 33 or 92 or whatever the number is, or I'm not going to buy it.
Right.
I'm going to move on to the next one.
I would like to address something here that I still see happening, and I want to let everybody know.
She's pointing.
What you should do. Yes, I am pointing. So this could be you. I see people entering into areas where there is no data, so they really have no idea, and they're brand new.
Flying blind.
Totally.
I see that too.
I don't even do that. I mean, yes, it's great when there's no data because, hey, no one even knows what it's worth. Well, that's partially, but you don't even really know what you're doing. And if you're new, please don't do that. I want you to go to areas that there is data that you can really make good, accurate decisions. So if you're like, well, I really want to mail this area because I heard all this stuff, come back to it. Don't do it. Move on to one that you have. It's okay. I know you heard the Amazon plant is going there. Fill in the blank. Move on. Go to a place that you really can assess, make good decisions, not guess.
If you're trying to date a man and all the signs are saying this is not the man to date.
This is what I was going to ask you. Keep going.
Oh, yeah? I don't want to steal your thunder here.
Oh, no, I was going to, well, go ahead and finish your sentence and then I have a direct question.
I'm almost sure he's not a good man to date.
Okay. What data did you use on me?
You know what, Jill? The truth of it is, I'm a former accountant.
I'm sure there's data.
My entire, I can truly say this. I'm not sure I chose you, by the way. I think it was the other way around. But I just, you're just a lot of fun. Oh, that's truly, that's all I never expected that this would be a lifelong thing. I figured we'd just have a bunch of fun.
For a few months, and then it would.
Jill and I are from very, very similar, very different geographic locations, but very similar backgrounds, and we're very similar age. And just that, I guess that's data. I didn't even think of that.
There we go. And now it comes out.
The more we talked about like our upbringing, our parents, and how things got handled, and
when we graduated,
similar music, all of it. That is all data.
Yeah.
There were more similarities. So every time you see like a romantic comedy and people have a first date, oh, I'm interested in this. I'm interested in this. We're all this very similar. That's data.
Yep.
So no, I didn't consciously do it, but that's what happened.
I figured there's a spreadsheet running around here somewhere that you have hidden.
Why do you continually put up with this? Is it data or just worn out?
I like that. Yeah, you wore me down. No.
Permanently? That's good.
Yeah.
That's a show. Yeah. That's a whole new program. How to wear her out so she just doesn't care anymore.
Exactly. Fine. What do I have to do now? I have to do this to go on vacation? Fine. I'm doing it. I don't really care. Bring it. That's it. I am sure that happens.
I know that. Vacations are really different.
We know couples like that. They're older than us. Like, I don't really care at this point.
We do. A lot of them. Yeah. The majority.
Yeah, we do.
Boy, our vacations are different now. We just got back from Vail, and there was no one looked at the price tag of anything on that vacation.
Thank you. I did not do this. If anybody, you did the spreadsheet before you presented it to me.
I'm the one who's saying, we should go in this jewelry store and see what they have because it looks like they have some good stuff.
Yeah.
And no one looks at the prices, and Jill walks out with a ring.
Thank you.
That literally happened.
I know. That was really nice. Thank you.
It was my idea, not your idea.
No, that was very sweet. That was like the Christmas Day or the day after. It was very sweet. You're awesome.
So that's not data.
No. That wasn't data.
All I'm saying is we can wrap it up with this. There's data in everything. And I think that you'd be much better off, especially when it comes to money. So look at the data of everything. I get for whatever reason in my feed, the Dear Abby version of financial things going on financial in people's lives pops up in my newsfeed, probably because I click on it too much. And I have story after story after story of people that make, W-2, their households make $200,000, $300,000, $500,000. There's two people and they don't have any money.
I know.
And that's all you can turn that around in a week.
Yeah. I was thinking, that made me think of if you don't use data, whether or not to decide where you should live and buy a house and what job you're going to take, you're nuts.
All that, what car you drive, how much it costs, where you get your gas,
food.
When Jill and I are on the road with the RV, we are always looking for cheap gas that's 10 cents cheaper a gallon.
There's things
and where to get it.
All kidding aside, most of our lives were very budget conscious for everything that we do. Like even right now, I was just, working on stuff for our staff at the office, and I'm really budget conscious about that. There's a few things and a few times that we let our hair down.
I probably spend a cumulative month of full-time work hours managing our taxes.
Right.
It's the single largest expense that we have in our company, and I'm bent on doing it. It goes without saying, ethically and legally and correctly. So, and within the limits of what the law allows, which is I haven't talked about this in a while, but we live in a beautiful place where the tax law is in our favor as a small business owner.
Right.
Let's take a look at one of our favorite land acquisitions from our weekly Thursday member webinar.
We're Spartanburg County, South Carolina. All right. Purchase price, we're still working out the kinks, but we're right now around $91,000 to buy it.
I remember this from last week.
Oh, here we go. Thinks we can sell it for $200. Resubmitting it with additional due diligence due to recollaborate potential interests. Neighboring properties feature mobile homes and potential of this property to be used the same. The seller describes plans for up to 6 mobile homes. I'm scrolling down for the rest of that one. I don't see it. All right. I think if there's more to that, Chelsea, let me know here. All right. So it's 6.31 acres. I remember this. Oh, so yeah. We were looking at something storage or something back there.
It had
Didn't it have power lines?
No, it had a
Oh yeah, it had the billboard, but wasn't there power lines like halfway through the property and then a creek at the back?
back.
Exactly. Power lines. You can see them here. Billboard.
Mm-hmm.
So what it came down to for me, I remember this deal, is what's the revenue on the billboard? The endless beautiful revenue. They don't need a cell tower. There's one there. So hopefully we got a billboard lease and we know what's coming in so we can calculate some version of a capitalization rate and make a good decision. Well, I think what we decided is that, like Sam just said, there's a big issue with these power lines. It just kind of stops the usability of the property. So,
and there's no other, I wish there was some other way that if I could access it another way, there's the creek. Now I see that right there. Man, if I could come in one of the back streets, then I could see having mobile homes back there and using it. All right. The house on the adjacent tract has been leased to a college student for years. University of South Carolina is 1.5 miles away. I'm still having troubles with the other.
So do we have a revenue stream from the billboard? That's my question.
Yeah.
And is it transferable?
Good point.
Because I would be personally very interested in that.
Exactly.
I just don't see where you're going to put these mobiles.
I know.
Billboard is out.
Oh.
And so this is a container that somebody over here has probably got stored. And this is the way in. There's a lot going on. So if the billboard's out, I'm out. This is the way into the property. And if it's a mobile home situation, now you're going to build a road or blade a road, best case, through here. Under this billboard, we don't know if that's possible. Under these lines here. And now you have a 6-unit mobile home situation on the I-85.
I'm having a hard time selling it.
I think the best use of this, hopefully it's ag is to use what's going on here.
Is this all making sense to you? Is this something that you think you want to do? Learn to be a land investor and get involved in Land Academy? Well, to find out more, go to landacademy.com, download our ebook and read it. It's, 10 plus pages long, and it really does tell our whole story.
It's like 37 pages, but that's okay.
Well,
have you ever read the ebook?
I have, but I thought it was condensed. Well, I used the Cliff Notes version.
Everything's a little shorter.
Read like I do. It's maybe 37, but there's only 10 really good ones. Just kidding. Whatever it is. Check it out. And then if you have any questions, send us a note, support@landacademy.com.
Let's take another question posted by one of our members on the Land Academy Discord online community. Again, if you want a sneak peek at our Discord channel, it's something Jill and I are super proud of. Please go to landinvestors.com. It's free.
Hi, Jamae. So Jamae and I communicate in Discord and other areas and stuff.
It's a prelude to Land Academy Ladies is coming.
Yeah. Oh, good. Okay. So Jamae wrote, "Hey, everybody. I'm looking at a market narrowed down by zip code where the sold numbers range from 50,000 to 115,000 for 5 acres. So now I know that I have to narrow it down more by neighborhood." Okay, I got that. Question: when using offers to owners for your mailers, has anyone narrowed down their mailers by neighborhood/subdivision, or is that too detailed and I'm overthinking this? Thanks.
Boy, you are not overthinking this, because to answer your direct question, you're not overthinking this. There's a response here that by Dan again, Pacific Northwest Dan, that it's worth. Dan responded and
Cool.
with some great advice, and then I'll follow up.
Okay. So he wrote, assuming the lower numbers are not lower because they have no access or are not some other easily discernible anomaly or just a freak outlier, I have taken both approaches. On some mailers, I've just adjusted the offers towards the lower end of the range and sent it out. Unless your data set is very homogeneous, you could see this kind of range in a lot of places. Where I send mail, there's a lot of landlocked hillsides and waterfront buildable lots, all the same size. You check for reason and do your best off the data that you have. I might spend more time checking my pricing to make sure that the parcels I would actually want to buy, if they came back and are not overpriced. You could go neighborhood-based or APN-based pricing, but you really don't want to delay getting the mail out indefinitely while you go line by line. Yeah, that's not a good idea. I tend to go more into specific neighborhoods, APNs, on a remail, or an area that I know better. There's definitely a balance between caring enough and spending enough time to work your data to get pricing reasonably done well, but also not overthinking and spending a month on the same mailer trying to get it just perfect. So true.
That's why I included Dan's response here.
Yeah.
Because there's a balance, like in everything. You want to. I don't think this is really what the topic is here. So here's a prelude to the topic. There's a balance between spending too much time on a mailer and too micro pricing it, and essentially making a very, very, very at the end educated guess and saying, let's get it in the mail.
Right.
You have to decide who you are as a person and where you are in that spectrum. I lean toward, let's get it in the freaking mail and let's see what happens, and let sales work it out, or let Jill's environment. And, honestly, within reason, she wants to do that too. Mm-hmm. She wants an opportunity to buy some really cheap property by using her social skills.
Right.
And so let's get into the topic, because Janae, this is a very good question. Mm-hmm. It's something that I'm going to include in the next program, maybe in its own whole module. Avoiding to overpriced mailers, because
that's good.
The way we are now into a new data era, which we didn't have when I did 2.0, mm-hmm. when I recorded Land Academy 2.0. And we get it with the good news is we have better data and more data. And so it's causing the way that we price mailers to be slightly, in some cases, overpriced, and we don't want that.
There we go.
Today's second topic is how to avoid sending overpriced mailers. So what Jamae said is this. I did everything right. I trolled. I found a great area that I like. I applied the red, green, yellow test. It seems to work for multiple zip codes, let's say even for a county. And I downloaded all the data, did everything that I'm supposed to do, and my range is too big. My sold and for sale price per acre, or however she's looking at it, is too wide. It's between $50,000 an acre and $115,000. And like Dan said, you have a couple choices. You can go on the low end and get it out there and let Joe work it out, or you can get a little bit more micro about it and a little bit more. Let's call it educated about breaking those areas of geography down and repricing them to make it easier on the sales piece, which I'm a huge fan of. So what you need to do is implement some version of, I don't want to call it neighborhood, because there's not neighborhoods in rural areas at all. It's just land. You want to implement some version of APN pricing, and it's very simple to do. At the tail end of a mailer, you take a zip code that's got all these variances and prices, and you resort it by APN. So let's say an APN scheme that starts with the number 1, and then it goes from 1 and then obviously changes at 2. You look at APN scheme number 1 as its own pricing set. And so 20 or 30% or maybe 15% or some number might be appropriate to price that number 1 set of property. Number 2 might be higher. You might come in at, it might be coming in at a very, very, very low number. Let's say on Jamay's scenario, it's coming in at $50,000, and you might want to price that a little bit higher, and on and on and on. And you're going to knock out a lot of hate and make that a lot more accuracy. What you're giving up for that, sadly, and there's no way to avoid this, is the opportunity for home runs. We've all, once or twice a year, all of us who send a ton of mail out, once or twice to 3 times a year, we buy a property for $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, whatever number that we offered, because they just want to sell it. And we sell it for a hell of a lot more.
Like 120.
120, 150.
You're like, what?
And it sells immediately because the person who's buying it realizes it's worth a lot more.
Yeah.
And so you could live on that. You could live on that one deal and send a ton of offers and just wait for that. I wouldn't recommend it at all, but you could. So the point is, avoiding if you implement this last step of what I call approaching APN pricing, you're going to avoid a lot.
I was going to say about this. So what's the whole reason we're even talking about this? Why do we even care? Because it's so much easier to add money. If you come in hotter, send out lower offers. If you're going to screw up, that's the way I want you to screw up. Like Jack said, I want you to send them too low, and because it's easier to add money, A, and B, you might find a home run in there. Someone's going to go, I don't care what they would have offered. I'm signing it anyway. I need to get rid of this. For whatever reason, today's the day. I don't care. I'm settling my estate. We're all done. I don't need any money. There's so many people out there like that too. Like, I don't need the money. You just do the work. You can have these dumb things. So you remove that if you overprice. And I can add money. There's reasons why when people call up and say, this is funny. Tell me. You just sent me an offer for, $14,000. The thing's worth 40, or the thing's worth 400. Let's just even say that. I've had crazy things happen. And sometimes, let's all be honest too, people think their asset is priceless and I have to reel them back in. But sometimes there are extenuating circumstances like waterfront, or it backs up to these BLM land and there's a path, something, there's the location, the nature of the access, all kinds of things that might really mean I would pay more. I just missed that. So I can, and I do, add money where it's appropriate to make, but I still am not going to buy anything retail. That's not what I'm here, unless it's for me and my personal use, which that's never what I'm doing. So, and what's funny about that, even our personal properties, I wouldn't buy it. You know what I mean? I don't get emotional. Yep. Maybe that's part of it too. You taught me a long time ago that you need to. I taught
you something?
You did. That's one shocking. Or two things. Just kidding. You teach me a lot. Stop it. You teach me a lot. That you told me that you have to see all these properties as a line item. You can't get emotional. Even when you're sending out offers, by the way, maybe you're spot checking before the mail goes out, Jamay, and you're like, ooh, this is waterfront. This is worth more. Ooh, don't change it. Don't get yourself emotional on it. Let it go. See what comes back. See who wants to sell. And then, start making decisions and checking and see if you want to buy it. But you always, no matter what, have to just see it for what it is. You can't get emotional. I even had this happen recently to me, by the way, to Montana property submitted to me from a Land Academy member, and I'm trying to make it work because I really like the property. Yes, to fund the deal.
Isn't that terrible?
I know, and I even wrote.
I hate trying to make it work.
It's so funny. I wrote a note about something. We had the cutest conversation, and here's how our conversations go. It comes in to my transaction coordinator, it's input into Airtable, I'm tagged. I reply to the person in Airtable, and then my transaction coordinator sends them the note. So it's all through Airtable, right? We're not even talking at all, but we're cracking jokes in there. And I'm like, look, at the end of the day, I said, look, I think I'm trying to make this work, and I just can't at this price. I'm actually catching myself on this one, and it's very, very rare that this happens. Like, I'm clearly getting emotional about this Montana property, and we can't spend that much money. This is it. And I said, by the way, it was so cute. You know who you are. I sent a note, and I said, did I just pick up on an HOA?
Oh no!
Hold on a moment. I pick up on a $100 a month HOA. Something popped up on a listing that I found in that sub, and they're like, and then they wrote me a nice note back, and I was like, Jill, it's not right. It's $100 a year. It's all it does is for roads. You taught me better than that. And I went, touche. That was really good.
That's outstanding.
That was great. So I thought that was really funny. So you can't. The whole point here is, like Jack covered, spend some time, not too much time. Do your best not to overprice. If you're going to overprice or underprice, I want you to underprice. If you think you're underpricing it, then you did it right. Let her rip, kind of thing. And you can still. Say it all goes wrong. Oh gosh, we did overprice on this. You can still save those. Have those conversations. So many people, the people call back and they want, like, this is great. Here's a purchase agreement. How fast can we close? And you look at it going, uh-oh. And you're like, shoot, I can't pay 40. Now I want to pay 4. It's really, I'd pay, what do I do? I'm just going to go dark. I'm not going to call them back. I'm just going to go dark and let them walk away. Don't do that. Call them back and have that conversation. Okay, now I know why you called me so fast. Are you aware of how far this is from fill in the blank? And are you aware that because you timbered it a year ago, it's not pretty like I thought it was, or fill in, whatever it is? And they go, yeah. Usually the conversation goes, yeah, I was kind of wondering why you offered 40 for this. So then you go, okay, we're on the same page here. Here's the deal. I do still like the property, but the best I can do is 4,000 or 14,000, whatever it is. It's the number that now makes sense to you. You can still fix these. And that we'll talk more on another show.
What you don't want to do is extremities. On the far underpriced extreme, I've done both of these things multiple times. You don't want to say, I'm going to send a $500 out per parcel offer out on every property in this county, because I just don't feel like going through what the Land Academy talking heads tell me that I should do.
Right.
And I'm going to see what comes back. I can tell you with confidence, nothing's going to come back. And what will come back is extreme anger. And that's it. And you'll never send another mailer out again. And we don't want that. We want you to succeed. On the flip side, we had a person in Career Path about 3 or 4 career paths ago where he has a big staff and prices every single piece of property individually,
line by line.
And he came into this. He's from Central Europe.
Yeah.
And he came into this business here in this country because his father was extremely successful, so he says, in Central Europe doing this over the last 2 generations, which I'm sure is the case. Farmland in Europe is incredibly expensive and valuable. The whole royal family is built on farmland all over the place in England. So what you don't want is to individually price every single offer. It's going to take way too long. And you're going to buy some property, but you're not going to buy it cheap enough. You're not going to buy it at embarrassingly cheap prices, which is what we're here to do. And so when you picture it as a bell curve, you don't want to be on these 2 sides of the bell curve. You want to be somewhere over here where it's going up and retail's right here.
Right. I hate that. I can't stand that. I hope
too.
No one's doing that anymore. Like, I'm just going to send the whole state an offer for fill in the blank.
Yeah.
It
It's
sends
pretty
the wrong
reckless.
message.
Yeah. It's expensive as hell, first of all.
That's true.
And pretty reckless.
You know, because I really think that there's a lot of people that just don't take that seriously. I would not. And based on numbers, it doesn't come back that well. So let us save you.
Let's take a look at another one of our favorite land acquisitions from our weekly Thursday member webinar.
All right. We are now same county. Chelsea's third one that she's worried about this week.
That's a good problem.
Exactly. It sure is. Buy for 44, sell for 105. Similar size, 6.5 acres, 6.49. We have access, affordable, adjacent, alive. Chelsea says yes, 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 and yes.
Some type of clearing here too. That's what FEMA says is flood.
These are
which is
great.
good. Yeah, this is a good deal too. Maybe better.
I know. That's what I think.
I like the clearing.
Mm-hmm.
The road here too.
Yeah, nice home site.
Google's over there. You can at least see there on Mayo Road.
Yeah, it's what you think it looks like.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think that's sweet. I like it.
See what this is. Best one so far.
Mm-hmm.
Nose estimate. Let's see what realtor thinks. 211. And you're paying 44 for a larger acreage with structure.
No structure.
So this is, I mean, there's a structure here at 3.5 acres for
200. Yeah.
200. This is a couple more acres for bear. So I think it needs to be cheaper, closer to
20.
Yeah, just to be safe.
Right.
But again, if you got 3 or 4 or 5 or however many properties you have, hopefully you need a whitetail guy there anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So I love the dirt, and maybe 44 is okay. You need to, and you've justified somehow $100,000 sale price. So
They'll confirm that.
yeah, just comes down to the money on this.
Exactly. Good job, Chelsea.
Yep.
I like those.
Another good week.
Mm-hmm.
Jill, you have something at the end here that inspirational. I think that you might want to share.
Exactly. My little nugget for today. I was thinking about confidence. You know what it is? I'm thinking about Land Academy ladies, and that's going to start up here in the next couple months. So if you are a Land Academy member and you are a female, check it out. Send it if you want information now, you can just send a quick note to support@landacademy.com and they'll fill you in. But we have our own, and by the way, I'd like to point out, Land Academy Ladies is the only land-focused female investment group, period. There isn't one. This is it. I love that. So anyway, so I was thinking about Land Academy Ladies for 2023, and we're going to kick that back up here. Took a little hiatus, and everybody's asked. I'm bringing it back. And one of the things that I think we all even need, I was going to lead off with this for part of our Land Academy Ladies first session, is confidence. We all need confidence. Everything's just so much smoother with confidence. Man, when these calls come in, if you're confident, you're going to handle it so much differently than like, hello, just like, hey, this is Jill, is very different than this is Jill, because you don't know what's coming at you. You need to have confidence. And one of the quickest, fastest, easiest ways that you can build your own confidence, and I mean in life and everything, is just start with a little mantra. I always have mantras in my head. I'm all the time talking to myself. I don't know if you know that. You probably do know that.
Sometimes it's out loud.
Yeah, that's true. Well, if it's a mantra, if it's about you, it's not a mantra. Just kidding. But
we don't have any more kids in the house, but they used to say, is she talking to you? No, she's talking to me.
Yeah.
No, I don't think she's talking. I think she's talking to herself.
But yeah, I do constantly have little mantras in my head all the time. And one of my favorites, and I want you to start using this like all the time, it's just, I like myself. You need to start saying that. If you're not saying that, you're not walking around with your head high and your shoulders back, just feeling good about you in your day, walking around situation, how messy your desk is, or what meeting you're walking into, whatever it is, I want you to start saying that all the time. Just, I like myself. And you're gonna feel your shoulders. So you think, what?
No, I mean, go ahead.
You don't believe this to be true?
I'm sure it's true. I'm not going to do it. I'm sure it's true.
Well,
I'll do it. I'll save my stuff till the end.
Fine. Well, I'm telling you, it works. And I really encourage you to try that.
I think you should walk around and say stuff like, where's my next deal?
Yes. Well, okay.
That's it? That's your whole talk?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What are you talking about?
I thought it would be, more
Well,
grand.
you kind of interrupted it. So, you poo-pooed it.
No, I didn't. I just didn't say it's not for me.
Now you know why I have other mantras in my head.
Like, stay in this
I like
relationship.
myself.
Try to stay in this relationship.
And don't let him get you. Don't let him get you. Don't let him get you. Ignore, delete.
That's a mantra.
Exactly.
You know what? Ignore is, I think, a great mantra. Walk around and say that. And not because of Jill. Just because of stuff that actually this leads.
Well, actually, I do
leads
that.
into my talk.
That is true. When I'm driving, if someone's pissed off, I'm like, whatever. I do that all the time, out loud and in my head. That's your problem. That's another. All right, there's all kinds of mantras, but I want you to be confident. And if you start with that little one, that this one's poo-pooing. You know what? Please ignore that, like I said, and try mine. It works. Jack, do you have something informational to share?
Hold on a second.
I'm not going to shoot holes in it like you did mine.
I'm not done with this yet.
Okay.
If you have to say you like it, I like myself. I think what it really implies is you don't like yourself. And that you're trying to get yourself to like yourself.
I disagree.
I think you need a psychiatrist if that's going on.
You are not correct, sir.
All right, so I'm missing the point. Go ahead.
You are missing the point.
Please explain. Because I represent half of the people who listen to and watch this.
Okay.
The other half are like,
all right,
Jackson ass and Jill's awesome. Let
me give you the guy version. All
okay,
right.
good. Thank you.
First of all, do you use mantras?
No.
Ever?
Never. Except for ignore. I only use a mantra to talk myself out of bashing someone over the head in public.
Control. Yeah. Walk away.
Yes.
All right. Here's a man version.
It's not worth it. I use that one a lot.
I'm trying to think of a good one that the other half of the population,
the unhappy half,
can relate to. How about this mantra? Whatever you do, you walk in around. I'm badass. I deserve this. I'm really good at what I do. Can you use one of those?
I don't need to.
Well,
I mean, I'm already
maybe
right.
You're subconsciously
I'm
doing
saying
it.
this. I'm truthfully.
Well, if you think like that, you're subconsciously already doing it.
Use the truth, and I'm glad we're talking about this because I'm not poo-pooing anything. I honestly think this is super valid. Mm-hmm. I've never had an issue with confidence. I didn't have an issue with confidence. I'm not patting myself on the back. There's many times in my life, maybe one of them's right now, where some changes need to happen for sure.
Do you know what?
I'm not so overly confident that it's narcissism or anything like that at all. No. I'm just, and I'm completely, I think, very open-minded to new things, especially when it comes to data and all of it.
Do you know what percentage of the population you probably are?
Confident?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Probably less than 10, maybe less than 5. So you think you relate that half of the people listen to you here relate to that here? If you do, congratulations, you're also in the top 10%. But I don't think it's that many. So I'm talking to the 90% people here, or the 95.
I get confidence.
Sometimes we fall down.
I get confidence from completing stuff successfully. I don't get confidence from saying stuff in my head.
That's okay. Then this isn't for you because you're the 2%.
I say get a deal done and feel great about yourself.
But see, how do I say this?
I'm not burning this down at all, Jill. I think there's huge value in this. I'm just not sure that I like myself.
And that's okay. And I know you don't like yourself at times. There's times I don't
just
like you. I'm just kidding.
Like right now.
Exactly.
This is one of those times where I wonder if this is ever going to air. A few times over the years,
you've never said this.
We might have to re-record this.
You've never said this to a family member. Kudos to you. But I gotta say, you know what? I love you. I'm just not sure I like you right now. If you've never said that to a family member or yourself, then you're lying. Because that happens. I've said that to every one of our children. And probably, and you, I know.
I just don't see. I mean, you know what? I think the mantra thing's great. I really do. I'm not knocking any of this. I just think the phrase, I like myself, there's something wrong there.
I don't think so. It's simple and it's an easy place to start.
Get a mailer out. That's a good mantra.
Ignore.
This is perfect for what I'm about
Jack,
to talk about.
What do you want to share? Because I can't wait to hear what this is.
Let's talk about the world we live in right now.
All right.
As it pertains to land. And I wrote this little sentence that I'm going to talk about here because of what Dan said. Mm-hmm. Dan's going along in his life, smashing it, doing a bunch of deals. He's been with us for their first question in this episode. And he's like, all of a sudden, people want earnest money. The real estate agent wants to get in the middle of my deal after it's already been negotiated and escrow's open.
Yeah.
What's going on? He's looking around going, everything's been going great. This is in my opinion, an acute sign of the times. Jill and I are old enough, and Jill comes from the airline industry. We were old enough to remember, and none of us will ever forget, the first flight we took after 9/11. And because we walked into the airport, this may not have been a surprise for you because you were in the industry at the time.
I worked at American Airlines at the time.
I walked into an airport, and I traveled for a living with KPMG. I walked into an airport and there was a line of people with all their shoes off and their clothes off and their bags open. And I said, what the hell is this? Like, is the airport on fire? It was so foreign. Well, it turns out it's something now that we do anyway. It's the TSA. We walked through it. We have to take it was really bad then.
Yeah,
it's much belts off and shoes and the whole thing.
Now it's changed.
But it didn't go away. It's here to stay. The TSA is here to stay.
Walk through with
worldwide.
machines.
It's changed how we travel.
Mm-hmm.
It has changed how we travel, and it will forever change how we travel. So, before then, I multiple times would, pull into the high paid parking area, screech in because I'm late, run down the jetway, and there's an ATM like machine where you'd pop your card in. You're usually a business card, a credit card, and they would spit out a ticket. You would hand it to the flight attendant not even at the beginning of the jetway, in the plane. Who just had a bin, and you would throw it in there, and you could fly under Jack Black. It didn't matter. They didn't care who was on the airplane. They wanted to get the thing off the ground. And so we had no idea then how much of a luxury that was. My point is that, it's changed forever. We've all accepted it, and it is what it is. It's added a massive amount of financial expense, which the airlines have, and the whole industry has passed through to us. So now it's way more expensive to fly. On the flip side, it's created some jobs. My point is, COVID has changed everything and will forever change what goes on in the world. And this is the world that we live in right now. And it's hard for people who are older, especially, who are not super old, but older like me. It's getting harder and harder to swallow the mandatory changes that are happening. And some of them are mandatory and some of them aren't, in everything, including doing a real estate deal. And that's what Dan said earlier. I don't understand why people are, one of the unintended consequences of COVID is that people sat home for 2 years and provided their opinions on everything all across the spectrum, their opinions loudly on the internet, and got attention. Mm-hmm. And so when people have unfounded, uneducated opinions in a loud manner and get attention for saying those opinions, mm-hmm. That's not good. And it's permeated into everything, including a seller doing a deal, or a buyer buying a piece of property, or dealing with a escrow agent. Everybody now has an incredible amount of opinion that's unfounded. It's just rooted in emotion or getting some type of response. Mm-hmm. And so, we have a couple choices. We can get real mad about it, or we can laugh about it on the show. And you have to laugh about it. Maybe a mantra is appropriate in managing it.
Thank you.
Maybe,
This is stupid.
But
This is
dealing with it
stupid.
is not you have to deal with it if you want to be successful. It's no longer an option. Real estate deals are more complicated, just like the TSA has made flying more complicated. And this is the world we live in right now. You know what? I say that to myself all the time to calm myself down. So I guess I do have mantras.
Thank you.
This is the world we live in. You know, driving has never been worse.
Right.
Driving on the road, just because, and again, it's because people think that they have common courtesy is just no longer part of everyday life. It's certainly gone from the real estate deals we do.
I'm surprised when it does happen. When someone's like out of their way nice, I'm like, oh boy, that catches me off guard. You remember the other day at the bank, that woman, she's like, okay, and how many, she waited for me while I got all these checks out that I've been collecting to deposit. You know, like that was easy. I'm like, I know.
Yeah.
What? Did I just hit her at the right time or what? It's funny.
So there's beautiful rays of light everywhere. You just have to, focus on that and concentrate on, what I do is concentrate on there were about 6 months ago, somebody put something that was really inappropriate in Discord that none of our staff caught. It was not really inappropriate. It was a political view, which I have no patience for. There's no politics on Discord. Right. And somebody started down that path, and somebody else was commenting on it, and none of us caught it. And then it became a thing, and
I didn't know that.
Somebody went in. I'm not going to name names, but you know who you are. It's one of your Land Academy ladies went in and said, "This needs to end right now."
Good.
Like your mother would say it when you're young.
Good.
This is not what this is. I don't know what she said. Jack and Jill have put this all together, and this has created an environment where this is what social media is supposed to be like, and we all respect each other. Big, long speech, and it stopped it all.
I probably know who the person is.
We didn't have to intervene at all. So you know who you are, and thank you very much. But that's just Land Academy. There's a common courtesy. We have courtesy for each other, and respect. And once in a while it dances along the line, but except for that one time, it just never crossed. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud that we're like a little oasis of an area where we can concentrate unemotionally on buying and selling real estate and land, and not get all nuts about as far as it goes. The worse it gets, or as far as it goes, is like Dan's comment here. Yep. Is he going to get all those deals done? Of course. Is it harder? Yep. Maybe a little bit more expensive, slightly. More of a pain in the butt? Sure. Yeah. Just like the TSA. But this is the world that we live in now. And if you buck it, you're not going to win. And we want you to win.
He gets it. He gets it. He gets it.
Who, Dan?
No, you. It's my mantra.
Oh, the mantra.
Yeah.
Join us next Wednesday for another interesting episode, because you are not alone in your real estate ambition. We are Jack and Jill. Information
and inspiration
to buy undervalued property.
We hope you found our content valuable, and we appreciate your support. If you have not already, please check out our channel and hit the subscribe button.
And your comments and suggestions help us to create the content you're here for. Hitting the like button helps to support our channel's algorithm and gauge your interest for future shows.